Alright, you guys, 2 videos in one day. I am on a roll. You guys, I am so super hype for this video. Pluto in the 10th. This is like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I have 10th house moon, but I just thought that this placement was absolutely fascinating and I just can't wait to get into it. We are going to start off with a quote. So, with great power comes great responsibility is a perfect quote, you know, to capture the theme of this video today. We have Pluto, which is a planet of death, rebirths, more deeper, intense sexuality, power struggles in the house. In the 10th house, which is the house of career, is the highest point in your chart, and it is therefore what you are known for. You have like a hunger and this more like primal passion to be successful and to be powerful, especially in your career. I mean, this is Pluto. This isn't the Mars, like, oh, I want this, so I'm going to take action to go after it. This is like, I feel it. I lust for it. I hunger for it. It's just coming from within. This is like animalistic. Like I can't even control it, but I feel that way about becoming successful and becoming powerful. Fantasize, you daydream, you think about, you talk about power and success. And so it really doesn't matter if you're a manager at Walmart or if you're in corporate America or whatever. Your mind is in the same mode. You're gonna position and align yourself. Like it's like a chess game where you can't not get it because you've set it up so well to where it's like all the dominoes just fall in your favor. If you were going to manipulate anyone, it would be in this way. It would be for career. And you may have the mindset, well, why would I manipulate anybody? And it's like, but if you're going to, you should do it for this way. Nobody consciously thinks, I'm going to manipulate this person. Or maybe you do, but I feel like it's more subtle. And some people like to manipulate others for money, for sex, for you. You're just like, look, if I'm going to get down and dirty, if I am, I better get some career advancement out of it. It just only would seem worth it for that. And you may not see it as manipulation. You may see it as being rather strategic. So like I said, I work at a casino. I've said that like every video. And there was this guy and he was talking about being in a certain industry or field. I don't remember what it was, but he's talking to his friend as we're playing the game. And he says, look, I go to young and up and coming people in the field. And I say, hey, I think you're going to be very instrumental and very powerful in this field down the line. I would like to partner and align myself with you, lending my experience to your new innovative whatever you've got going on, and we can kind of help each other. He's letting them know from the gate. So it's not manipulative in a subtle way. It is, you can be just very overt about your intentions. You can be like, look, I'm trying to partner up. I'm trying to do this. Look, I'm trying to get that promotion. And you don't mind doing that, and you're not scared to do that because you want it, and you're like, look, I'm trying to do what it takes. You've really got your, your war paint on, your little black stripes under your eyes when it comes to your career and when it comes to being successful and being powerful. And you can be just so unapologetic about this. Somebody else might be like, well, hey, I was next in line for the promotion, but a couple months before you knew it was going to open, you start taking the boss out golfing, every weekend. You can just be like, look, tough. Like, you don't mind getting down and dirty to get to the position. And once you get it, because you always do, you can be very ruthless in maintaining it. You will nip any possible threat to your career, to your success, and to your position right in the bud. Or even if there is no threat, even if you think like there might be a threat or somebody might go down the line and do something, you're like, look, take this person out. This is very much Game of Thrones when he killed all the babies. This is giving me very much like ancient Rome. I'm just killing people just because I can, just because you might do something. You are on their ass. You can do very backhanded, underhanded, slimy, Scorpio type stuff, especially if this is in Scorpio, because you got that grip. You are not letting go of what you get once you get it. John Oliver on Last Week Tonight, he did a great segment on Lukashenko, who was a politician maybe about 30 years ago in Belgium or wherever.
For some Belarusians, he's the only leader they've ever known.
How old are you?
I am 22.
You're 22?
Yeah.
So your whole life
Yeah.
you've lived under one
Yeah.
president. How does that feel for you?
Well, it feels like shit.
Yeah.
And it's very Plutonian, Pluto in the 10th, because it's about politics. 10th house is often about politics. So I just thought him not relinquishing his power was such a great example of Pluto in the 10th being like, I'm not getting up from this chair. I'm not doing it. And I put a little star by this in my notes. You are equally as aware of opportunity as you are to threats to said opportunity. I'm not even going to let you get in a position to even think about or have the power to take my spot. You do not play about your spot. You may encounter many of these types of people in your career path. People that are just backstabbing you, or they're just gunning for the same thing that you're gunning for so hard. I always laugh because I think about, if you guys watch The Office, when Michael and Jim were co-managers and Michael just did not want to share his power, it's very much that kind of energy where it's like, I'm not letting it go.
Bitch, and I don't want to have to deal with it.
And that's why you have an assistant regional manager.
Yes, it is. Assistant to the regional manager.
Same thing.
No, it's not. It's lower, so.
It's close.
Assistant to the regional manager. Just that one word was put such a different dynamic in the air. It's like, no, you're not even just below me. You're like below to me. You know what I mean? He had to like put that out there. Power plays, microaggressions, big aggressions, just anything where people are like, look, I'm gonna step on your neck to get to the top. And they don't care. And these situations and these people will transform you. How they transform you is up to you. Now, on the positive side, you may notice these negative, ugly behaviors, and you may just be like so turned off that you may resolve within yourself, hey, I'll never be that person. I'm never going to be somebody who sleeps my way to the top. I'm never going to mess up somebody's files at work so that they look incompetent. I'm never going to go an underhanded route. I am always going to take the fair and honest route. And if I get the position, great. And I should, because if we believe in karma and the universe and what's fair, I should get there. And if I don't, then it wasn't for me. But I'm not going to stoop down to their level. That is the more evolved way to deal with this. You can grow strong and wise and be a little bit less envious in the workplace. I mean, if you've got all these people competing for power or for a certain position, there's a lot of jealousy and a lot of envy with the people who are in that position or the people, you know, who you're competing against. You can free yourself from that because you just like, hey, I got my blinders on, I'm gonna do me. And if I get it, great. And if I don't, then that's still okay. You can use it just to be a little bit less naive. You can be like, look, last time there was a new position opening up and I was blabbing to everybody about how I wanted it, and Susie over there did something backhanded or put in a bad word about me, so I didn't get it. So now when the new position comes up again, you can be a little bit more quiet about it, a little bit more, you know, keeping it on the hush hush. You're a little less naive at work. You're still getting your power, but you're doing it in that very plutonic, scorpionic, silent, calculated way. On the negative side, if people treat you this way, you can just become very bitter and untrusting of your coworkers and of your bosses. And you may constantly walk around until you learn to evolve, because the choice is always up to you. And you just may constantly walk around with this idea that I know this person's going to stab me in the back and I know that person's going to stab me in the back. So fuck it, I'm going to stab them in the back first. And you may just always be waiting for this more seedy, underhanded actions from people, even if you work at a new job and this whole new group of people isn't like that. And now you're the one putting that energy out, and you're the one keeping the, not cycle of abuse, but you know what I mean? You're the one keeping the thing going that you originally didn't like. Again, this is if you're less evolved. You have to learn how to grow from the growing pains of the Pluto in your 10th. I was in high school. Most people left their lockers unlocked. And my friend Chelsea was like, oh, somebody stole my textbooks. And like things just kept disappearing from her locker. So she texted me after school one day and she's like, hey, you want to go around and we're going to be stealing from other people's lockers. And I was like, no. And then I started laughing and I was like, didn't you just say you were mad because somebody stole out of your locker? And she was like, it's a dog-eat-dog world. And I just was laughing because I was just like, I get why you're angry and I get why you want to do this to somebody else, but you also have to realize that you're just keep making somebody else feel how you felt. And then it never ends at that. If everyone did that, it would just never end. So, little stupid high school story for you to think about. This can also manifest itself as maybe an opportunity for power has heightened emotions around it. If you guys have ever seen The Social Network, which by the way is a super boring movie, but in it, it's very, so I don't remember it well, but there's this highlighted part about where the owner of Facebook, extremely powerful, one of the most powerful people in the world based on his influence with this company, is fighting over the rights to Facebook and who really created it with these other people. And so I just think like, again, this very coveted position, this very powerful position has the opportunity to bring a lot of intensity and a lot of drama with it. A lot of lawsuits, a lot of money, each way. So think about what it would be like to have created Facebook or, got the ball rolling and somebody else, when we think of Mark Zuckerberg, what do we think? CEO, owner of Facebook. You think Mark Zuckerberg, you think Facebook. And the pain of that. And so if you're younger, this is the first time that it's happening to you, you can get really caught up in the pain of that. Immediately, I think about Janet Hubert, who is dark-skinned Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So she was an actress, obviously. She's on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She spoke years later about being pregnant on set and just being in a dark time in her life. So she just wasn't really getting along with her coworkers. They come back, they have a lighter skinned Aunt Viv.
You know, Miss Banks, since you had that baby, there's something different about you.
And she finishes the majority of the series. And for years, I would hear Janet Hubert writes a book. Janet Hubert gives an interview on E! Hollywood True Story or whatever about her pain about being kicked off from the show. She seemed to be really consumed. She was in this coveted position and she's just consumed by the fact that she's no longer on it and consumed by the feeling of unfairness of, hey, I was pregnant. Hey, I was in a darker space, but I still feel like I deserve to get through that and keep my job and show you this different side, but I never get to show you my side. And I will always go down in the history books as being the one booted off the show, booted out from this, position. And the cool thing was, I think about last year, the cast got together and they talked out some of her problems. But for a long time, if you would pay attention when you hear from Janet Hubert, she just always seemed bitter and in a lot of pain. And so while it's great that she was able to have this sit down and probably heal a lot of that, a lot of times in real life, you just don't get these moments. Like sometimes bad shit happens to you and then life just keeps on going. And so it's really about releasing that pain. If somebody's ever done something underhanded to you in your career, or if you ever feel like there's some pain there, you do have to try to get to a point where you say, it happened for a reason and I can move on and do other things and not be consumed by that pain. So careers, which kind of careers? Intensely Plutonian, so psychology, detective work, being like a private investigator, surgery, because it's about cutting open, peeling back, digging deep, auditing, taxes, or things that are based in sexuality, which I will expand on that in a little bit. One of the coolest things is because Pluto is about transformation, going from the Scorpion to the Eagle, you will have a transformation of your public image. Pluto is testing you, the universe is testing you to see if they knock you down from your public image, how will you respond? So like I said in the beginning of the video, you're fighting tooth and nail, honest or dishonest, however your life is going to get to your top spot, and you get your top spot. You always get your top spot. I always imagine like those big chairs that people sit in for, you know, prom or whatever. You're on top of the world. You're literally Pluto in the 10th house. And then Pluto smacks you off the chair and smacks you down and you fall down. How do you respond? Who are you when you are not at the top anymore? If you are the CEO of a big corporation, big investment firm, you know, keeping with money and other people's money, investing, tax, things like that. And so you're a big man on campus. And everywhere you go in the lunchroom, everyone's like, hey, Jim, hey, Bob, or whatever your name is. And they're like, hey, come sit with us. Come out golfing with us. Oh, my daughter's having a baby shower. Come. And you're just that guy. And let's just say you retire. Are you still that guy? Do you still walk in the room with the same amount of confidence and the same zhuzh, you know what I mean? Or are you like, God, I don't have that title anymore. I don't have CEO at the end. I don't have the desk. I don't have people kissing my ass. I don't have an assistant anymore. I'm in the lower rank, so to speak. When you walk through the supermarket, do you still walk with your head high? Do you still feel like I'm the same person I was before? Because you are. And that's what Pluto is testing you. And if you've gotten so caught up in your power and your level and your position, you may not feel like that. You may be looking around like, I'm not big man on campus anymore. I'm not in this position anymore. So now what do I do? Now who am I? Because people aren't treating me like that anymore. There's nobody below me. So am I lower? No, you're not. But just me telling you that doesn't make it real. You gotta learn to feel it and evolve in that within yourself. So a great example is Bill Cosby. Now, Bill Cosby does not have Pluto in the 10th, I don't think. But I wanted to speak about the transformation of public image. So, you know, Bill Cosby was known for the longest time for being the dad on The Cosby Show, a family sitcom. Like, wow. And it was, you know, spread that he actually worked with a psychologist to figure out how to make Black people be portrayed in the best way and not as, you know, thugs. None of this snowfall shit, everything, all Black people gotta be in jail and selling drugs. No, how can we present a Black family that is law-abiding, where someone's not in jail, and the comedy comes from just these everyday growing pains that every family can relate to, no matter what race. That's what Bill Cosby was known for in a more public sense. That's like his vast reputation. What do we know about Bill Cosby today? What's the first thing you think about when you think about Bill Cosby today? You think rapists, drugging, raping people. What a transformation from happy sitcom dad, making sure Black people are, you know, being represented well, to a guy who's drugging and raping. I think it was like 60 women who came forward. I mean, who knows what he did, or the people who didn't come forward. Look at the juxtaposition of Bill Cosby in his prime and Bill Cosby today. Disgraced comedian, known sexual predator. What a world of difference. Another person who does have Pluto in the 10th house, and I thought this was just so fascinating. This is where like my astrology nerding out just was like, you know, it's just so fascinating. Kaitlyn Jenner. So Kaitlyn Jenner used to be Bruce Jenner. I mean, right there's the transformation. Competed in the Olympics, like how's that amazing? Was on a Wheaties box, was on Playgirl, has children, was married to Kris Jenner. So there's this very manly and macho thing. Obviously, I'm doing manly things. I'm very fit in my body. I'm in Playgirl. So I'm advertising my sexuality to the opposite sex, to women. Obviously, I have children, so I have a sexual relationship with my wife. Very much a man's man, a macho man. You know, the more archetypal, stereotypical projection of a man. What do we know Kaitlyn Jenner for today? For turning from Bruce to Kaitlyn. Very much a trailblazer in the transgender community. Now as a woman, received the Woman of the Year award, and really was in the public eye, the 10th house, the top of her chart. Having this experience of transformation around sexuality, really all of the themes here they come together when we look at the case of Kaitlyn Jenner, because you've got the sexuality, you've got the extreme fame, you've got the transformation, and you've got who she is today. She's not someone who is in hiding. I mean, I think she had a TV show. I think she still has a TV show. She's very open, like, look, I'm a woman now. I want to be called Kaitlyn now. She poses with her daughters. Such a transformation, such a change. And also, even though it's around sexuality, it's also taboo. It makes everyone, when it happened, be like, what? You want to be a woman? You want us to call you Kaitlyn? You want us to refer to you as she and as her? You want us to use different pronouns? How do we feel about that? For this person, how do I feel about that in general? It causes so many conversations. Is this person confused? Am I confused? If they're saying they want to be a woman, who am I to say? And it just keeps, if it does nothing, it brings up a conversation about taboo sexuality, and it makes us all stop and have a conversation. We have all had a conversation about Kaitlyn Jenner / Bruce Jenner, but she prefers to be called Kaitlyn, so I say Kaitlyn. And what do we think about that? And what does that mean? So on to the theme of sexuality, which I thought was very interesting here. Your persona may be very sexuality based. So when we think of Kaitlyn Jenner, a lot of times if somebody would say, hey, what do you know? You immediately go to her transition and what does it mean to be born into a certain body or identifying as a certain thing. And another person who has Pluto in the 10th, who is related to him, stepdaughter, is Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian has one of the most viewed, if not the most viewed, with 250 million views, sex tape of all time. And a lot of people, when you look back at her career timeline, you see that it is the sex tape that really kind of catapulted her into fame. And not long after that, she's got this big TV show, which she used to flip into other things. And she's just one of the most famous people in the world today. But starting very much with her sexuality. Her sexuality is very much at the forefront, not only of just of her life, but also of her career. Giselle Bundchen is another one, a very famous Victoria's Secret supermodel, and she just has that like chiseled face, and her hair is just, and she's just walking, and I believe now she's married to Tom Brady, but just very much, even though you know her for these other things, you always think, oh, very sexy woman. She's very much a sex symbol. At least, I wouldn't even say anymore, because now it's just, we're more body positive and inclusive of different colors. But back in the day, in the early 2000s, when the thing to be was fairer skinned and skinny, and from Brazil, that's like the thing to be. That's what she was. She was a sex symbol and still is. You guys, this one is so obvious. Hugh Hefner. I mean, immediately, images of Playboy and of him just being surrounded by these younger women just flash through your mind. We know Hugh Hefner for being this very, really a trailblazer in the realm of public sexuality. People have been having sex since the dawn of time. That's how we all got here. But he was the one who is like putting the magazines out in the early 60s when it's like, whoa, this isn't what we do. We don't put smut magazines out like that. having big ragers where there's all these girls, seeing this old man who's in his 60s, 70s, 80s, and he's like got 3 girls around him and they're like in their 20s, and he's not shy about it. I think he even had a chandelier with a bunch of panties hanging off of it. Sexuality, the more taboo forms of it, not that it's the craziest thing in the world that an old man had sex, but the way that he's doing it is so taboo, and he doesn't care. It's right out for everybody to see. And it really, again, starts the conversation, especially for people back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Is it wrong if a girl wants to take a picture with her top off? Is it wrong? And is he wrong? Am I wrong for wanting to look at it? Is it wrong at all? It just brings so many of these taboo things to the forefront. And like I said, at the very least, it just makes us have a conversation about it. And one thing that I thought was super cool when I realized that Hugh Hefner and Kim Kardashian had Pluto in the 10th house is that on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, they actually met. So you could just really see the 2 Plutos. I mean, I'm sure they're in different times, but interacting with each other. Kim Kardashian did a shoot for Playboy where she was completely naked, and that was an episode. And so you really just see people taking sexuality and putting it on display for the world, putting it at the top, putting it on the cover of a magazine, putting it in a movie, putting it in your face, in everyone's face, in the world's face, and us reacting to and talking about it. And so you can really use your sexuality to get to the top. This is somebody who may sleep with their boss for the position, or you might just like, maybe you're a waitress, but you just dress sexier than everyone else. And so you just get like the better shifts, or, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. Pluto is the most, stepping away from sexuality, Pluto is the most private planet. It is the farthest away. It was found last, and it is, I believe, the coldest. Kind of hidden there. I believe it was found in 1934. Got the most private planet in the most public house, in the top, Think of your midheaven as high noon when the sun is right there. So whatever is there in the 10th house is like where the sun is. It's just shining down on everything. It sees everything. It's at the top and everybody sees it. So always give credit where it's due, from Astrology on Tumblr. She's one of my favorite astrology accounts. She said, may refuse interviews, quiet on social media, or just may keep their personal life very, very private. That's one extreme of Pluto, because Pluto's extremities. On the other extreme, you can be very public. So Kim Kardashian was recently on Saturday Night Live. Again, she has Pluto on the 10th. And she said, oh, there's an average about 10 million viewers, so this should be a very intimate night for me. She has over 100 million followers on Instagram. She is, like I said, one of the most famous people in the world. So just the extremity of so many eyes watching you is probably something that it may never be enough for you, or it just may never bother you. 10 million people may look at you, 100 million people may look at you, and you just might be like, you roll with it, and you really may kind of like it and welcome it, bask in it, and maybe become obsessed with it. And you wield immense power because of your social standing. If she tweets, she's been like getting people out of jail. Not getting people out of jail, but she's been using her influence to impact some more unfair cases. And while that's amazing, I can't go on my Instagram with my 130 followers and be like, free so-and-so because this is what, no one's going to listen to me, and it's not going to make as much of an effect. So because you're in this high position, you do wield a lot of power. If you're the CEO of a company, you can look at somebody and be like, you're fired. And you can have the power to do that. I thought about this not because he has Pluto in the 10th, but recently Kanye, his album came out, Donda, and it was reported that he sold over $1 billion in merch. And people have had a lot to say about Kanye's clothes, and that they're very plain, and that it's just a lot of distressed things, or it's just sweats, and he's selling it for so much money. Even I saw a shirt from him, a plain white t-shirt, no logos, no embroidery, nothing, was $250, you guys. That's crazy. And that was at a time where Kmart was still open and you can just go and get a pack of shirts for like $6.99. And it's looks the same to me. I don't know. So I just think it really goes to show that your name, your influence, your position of power is like a tidal wave. It's like a monsoon, and whatever you send it at can in turn be very successful and very powerful as well. So my final thoughts on 10th house Pluto is, do not just be your position. Don't just be the CEO of whatever or the head nurse at so-and-so hospital. Be yourself and also realize that you are in this position, that it is separate from you. It's two separate things. Do not merge your identity so closely with your position of power. Don't forget that you have a 4th house. You have a very private life, a home life, a family life. Not everything is meant to be on display. That is why we have the 4th house, a place to retreat to go inward and be our most private selves. Know that ups and downs in your career will not affect your life overall. If you get fired from a job, or you get demoted or move to a different department, you are still you. Your family is still your family. They will love you the same. Your friends will love you the same. Your pets, your dog will love you the same, no matter what goes on in your career life. Know that to get to the top, it's a tough fight. If there is any position of power, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's another person on this planet who wants it, and there's somebody else who's going to try to do something to get it. Be tough on your way to the top. Be firm, but do so with dignity. And I think you will enjoy it so much more when you get there, to know that you didn't have to take underhanded methods, even if they were done to you. You are extremely seen, extremely visible, and extremely influential in the public sphere. And make sure you use your power to persuade people, for good, and whatever good means to you. So anyway, guys, that was my Pluto in the 10th. I absolutely loved doing this video. It was so interesting. Get in the comments. As always, tell me what you liked. Tell me your experiences. Tell me anything that you think that I missed. And I will see you guys in my next video for Pluto in the 9th. Also, I will be throwing in little videos here and there that are not in a specific order. So if you want me to do something, let me know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.